There's so many unknowns now. What will happen, for example, if Benjamin Netanyahu wants to attend the UN and comes to New York City? Is Mamdani going to order his arrest, Army?
Well, he's going to come to New York. Believe me, Bibi Netanyahu is not going to shy away from a fight. No, he of course he's going to attend. I don't know what's going to happen. I know that in the days of yore, when Arafat came to a concert, he was arrested, as he should. He's a terrorist. It will be fascinating. I want to see what's going to happen. I mean, I will pay money to have a front row seat for that. So yeah, I mean, look. And by the way, when he was asked about that, right? He said that he would. He was also asked. They said, "Hey, are you calling for? You just want to have disarming? Do you want to disarm Hamas?" He goes, "I have no opinion on that, but I have a definite opinion on arresting the Prime Minister of the State of Israel."
Yep, that is going to be incredible. I mean, really, it couldn't happen to a better place. Manhattan, the folks there have championed this sort of lunacy, and now they're going to live it. So let's see how that works out for them. But it's not just New York that voted. Virginia also had elections, and Jay Jones has been elected Attorney General, despite text messages revealing he had wished for a political opponent to be murdered, as well as that political opponent's young children. We're talking about toddlers here. You would think that would be disqualifying, Army, but apparently not for Democrat voters. They backed him.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. No, of course it's not disqualifying.
No, he won.
Of course it's not. This is children. He called for the children to be killed, not just the elected official himself. I don't know if one is worse than the other necessarily, right? But look, and by the way, the governor-elect of Virginia was asked if she condemns Jay Jones, and she wouldn't do in the debate, right? Which goes to the problem that Democrats have, right? There is a violence problem with the Democratic Party. There've been a number of polls, obviously, on the acceptance of political violence, and we've talked about in the air. But nearly 50% of people on the left of the Democratic Party think that using violence to push a political agenda is necessary sometimes. That's a problem. And by the way, more than a quarter of Democrats on the center left has said that's a proper use of violence, political violence, that is. No, there's a consent structure problem that the Democratic Party has. Like I've said a million times, it's not just the people who commit the violence. They're committing the violence because they have the room to breathe, right? If they're allowed this, they're giving the consent structure of the people around them. They know this is what these people support. This is the living example of that. So of course he was elected. Of course it's not disqualifying the Democratic Party. And by the way, those texts came out in the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination. It wasn't like it was it'd be bad enough if it was in a vacuum, but it came right after that assassination, right? In that tense environment that we were in. So no, it's not disqualifying. This is what much of the Democratic Party has become. I hate to say it.
And sadly, I think the media shares some of the blame because there was just a refusal to really cover that story properly. If there was a Republican who'd sent texts like that, you can be sure that every single voter would have heard about it. Now, the government lockdown continues, the fight over SNAP benefits, food stamps, and you undertook an experiment with food stamps. Let's have a look.
There are those who say that you can't live on food stamps. They're just not generous enough, and it's too expensive to buy food in the inner cities. Well, I'm here at Seatown in Harlem to find out if I can live exclusively on food stamp benefits for a week.
Ami, how did you go? The full clip is on your X account, and it's quite fascinating. You take us through the whole week. Are you hungry?
No, I ate so well. Look, I wanted to put the lie to the idea that you can't live on food stamps, that people are just barely getting by, right? That's the whole idea. By the way, we use the word entitlements in this country. I hate that word because you're not entitled to it, right? That's the problem, that we look at these benefits and people say, no, you owe them to me. The American taxpayer we owe you nothing. By the way, they changed the name from food stamps to SNAP, but they don't want to call it food stamps anymore. And they're no longer actual food stamps. They're now these like EBT cards, they call them. They're almost like debit cards or credit cards because they've taken the shame out of it altogether. It's called SNAP now, supplemental nutrition, right? Supplemental, that's the idea behind it. But the amount of money you get is incredible. Here in New York, for a family of 4, it's $1,000 a month for food. I thought that sounds like a lot. And I kept hearing from people, oh, you can't live on it. That's why people are obese, because they can only afford to eat at McDonald's. By the way, McDonald's for a family of 4 is $40 a night. So I did this experiment. And by the way, I shopped in Harlem because they said, well, Harlem, they can't afford to eat proper food in Harlem because it's too expensive there. Well, I shopped in Harlem. Harlem, the same prices in my neighborhood here in New York. And I ate salmon, veal chops, chicken, fruits, vegetables, 3 meals a day, right? And it was for under $70 for the week. It was under $4 per meal, right? Per day. So yeah, and this like, look,
it looked good, Ami. I've got to say, I watched the video, and you're quite the at-home chef, and you whipped up some delicious and nutritious meals within that food stamp budget. Incredible. Ami Horowitz, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Always a pleasure.